Yo, what's going on, Atlanta? This is Marcus Carson with Stay Dedicated Video Magazine and Stay Dedicated Video TV. I'm sitting here with Afro Punk Atlanta artist Sociopathixxx, and I just want to talk to you for a bit. How you doing, man?
Yo, what's up, man?
Chilling, chilling. Your last album, Antisocial, seems to be getting a good buzz. What was your whole concept behind the album?
Basically, just kind of painting a portrait of, I guess, just the feeling of going against the norm in society, in the music industry, just being experimental. You know, that's antisocial wasn't just like, oh, I'm a person who's antisocial towards people. But I'm antisocial against just the norms in general of a lot of things that people perceive as how you do an album, or what things you got to speak about on an album and whatnot. And then at the same time, you know, I am against a lot of the bullshit regulations that, you know, govern the people.
All right. I've often heard your style of music dubbed as like ghetto metal. For people that don't know what ghetto metal is, why don't you explain that concept to them?
Well, I guess ghetto metal was kind of like, well, it was a name given to me by my producer at the time, the Ayatollah. I mean, it's a name that's probably been thrown around previous to that. You know, this was when I was doing my first album, Graffiti Poetry. But ghetto metal is primarily a blending of, you know, the rock elements. For me, more of a hard edge, even like death metal, punk, you know, classic punk rock, and just some hip hop, and just kind of throwing it together.
Right.
And you get ghetto metal.
Right. One of my favorite albums from you has been Graffiti Poetry, but I think each album you've done is different in its own way. Now, yourself being an artist, how do you evaluate your process of albums you've done? How critical are you on your own work as far as like writing and production?
Well, I think I'm actually very critical. I mean, every album I've done, I wish I could do it over, you know, but they are what they are for what I could do at the time, if that makes sense. You know, I'm an independent artist in the fullest form. I don't get no money from no one. You know, my first album, I primarily produced it myself, and I'm not even really a producer per se, even though a lot of people said, you know, overall it was, you know, a well put together piece. So, you know, a lot of it is just working with what I have, you know, and making the most out of it, you know, trying to get the most out of my creativity with limited resources, you know, not being able to work in big studios, which doesn't necessarily mean your album's gonna be better, but, you know.
That's been proven.
Yeah, but sometimes it is hard to be creative when you can't just, you know, stop grinding for a month and just focus on recording, or you know, whatever it is you got going on, and, you know, your damn equipment's breaking and shit, and just whatever the case be. So, I mean, from an artistic point of view, I mean, I think all my albums can be better, you know. So with the next one, I just hope, you know, it shows a progression, and I'm trying not to do the same thing over and over again. I mean, every artist has a niche kind of sound, but you know, I still try to be creative within the niche I've created for myself.
A lot of your songs have like a lot of hardcore punk influences. I know you did the song Vomit, and you did the Dead Kennedy sample off of Religious Vomit. What got you into hardcore punk, and what are some of the bands you listen to?
In all honesty, I really don't listen to much hardcore punk. The punk influence is kind of strange because it comes from like a real early part of my life. My uncle was into that scene in the early 80s, so I kind of was like around him, and he was kind of like a big brother to me. So therefore, you know, I guess I was, you know, hear tapes. Sometimes I wouldn't even know the artist, but I would just hear that style of music and I was into it. So as I got older, only a few groups really I, you know, stayed consistently following. You know, some groups like Dead Kennedys in particular. I always like, you know, their stuff. But I don't really like keep that bunch of punk stuff in my regular rotation. But I still give homage to a lot of the fabric for that, you know, that sonic fabric for my music, because it was something that was influential in developing my musical ear at a young age.
Right. A lot of your songs, especially on the Antisocial album, which recently came out a couple of years back, a lot of your songs talk about oppression of working class people, killing police, a lot of militant-minded, aggravated 5150. What is the message that you're trying to send out to the people?
Basically, people gotta wake up and start taking control of their lives, because this world is like really falling apart, and people are kind of like got their claws dug in to the fabric of the society. But what's gonna happen is they think it's gonna be like all hunky dory, or they're gonna keep being able to sell drugs or get over on people or whatever they got going on. Work a job, go to school. That shit ain't gonna last long. You know what I'm saying? The dollar could collapse tomorrow. What you gonna do then? Your job ain't gonna do you no good. You can't go out here and hustle. So people gotta learn to be self-sufficient. And what I'm trying to tell people to do is start thinking for yourselves, because a lot of people, they don't do that. They just go on with the day-to-day thing, and they think it's gonna stay like that. But when the shit hits the fan, and it's been like that before. You know what I'm saying? People ain't prepared, man. They're not ready for it. They're not ready to take control of their households, their communities, because they allow other people to make all their important decisions for them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm trying to get people to think. Like, start thinking about becoming more self-sufficient. Think about defending yourself, because, man, we see it all the time, man. The police and all that, they be trying to beat motherfuckers over the head, shoot them, kill them. That's been going on since we've been in America.
Right. How does hip hop speak to you emotionally and lyrically?
Oh man, hip hop's always spoken to me on just so many different levels, just from hardcore hip hop to, I guess, backpack hip hop, because a lot of it is telling the story of black people in this country. You know what I'm saying? The different kind of struggles we go through, the different walks of life we come from, and I'm the type of person, I kind of like been exposed to a lot of different ways of life. You know what I'm saying? So I can relate to a lot of different philosophies and approaches to the music, and I can just connect with it very well.
Name 5 hip hop albums that like deeply influence you.
Shit, they're gonna mostly probably old school ones, but the main one was I would say you got Public Enemy's Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. Was very influential. Wow, that's a good question. Man, you kind of stumped me with that. I got so many favorite albums. I'll say that one number one, but I think that's like the best album ever made. So I guess maybe I'm biased on that. I don't know. I guess anything that like had a lot of hard edge stuff. The Ghetto Boys, their self-titled album, the Gripping on the Other Level remake, that was real influential. Probably at some point I got to throw someone like Ice Cube in there. I don't know. I guess it's hard for me to just come up out the top of my head actual albums. I've been influenced by a lot of stuff.
All right. Got any shout outs, man? Any last words you want to say before this interview's over?
Shoot, everyone need to come check me out. Get with something a little different. Give it a listen. Sociopathic. I represent for Black Rain Enterprises. You can hit me up on the web. Do a search of Sociopathic on Google. Some stuff will come up. And just keep supporting your local scene. A lot of people say hip hop's dead, but there's a lot of good artists out here, man. And it's like, really, hip hop ain't dying. It's the people that really supposed to be calling themselves supporters is what's dying. You go to a show, it'd be like 3 people there. You know what I'm saying? And it's not necessarily because the artist is whack, because they ain't whack. It's just people really just like stuck in their little social internet web. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to step behind the screen and come join the people. That's where hip hop was born, in the streets. It wasn't born on the internet. So the internet's just a tool to expand the horizon of it.
Right. All right, man. Thank you for talking with us, man. Marcus Carson, Stay Dedicated Video Magazine. Check us out. YouTube.com, Stay Dedicated TV. Peace.